Welcome everyone to the Power Platform Junkies user group first ever community call. So what we thought on getting you guys is to actually show you how you can be able to get certified with a few of Microsoft certifications around the Power Platform, because obviously with the Power Platform Junkies user group. And then, of course, we have our Fanie Ndlovu, Mziwenhlanhla, and Phiwayinkosi on the call, who are going to share some tips and tricks on how you can be able to get started with the certification and how you can be able to tackle those certifications to your best interest so that you can be able to be successful in getting those certifications. So certification is something that is very important for you to attain, because ideally you want to prove to people that you actually know what you're talking about. So it may not be limited to the Power Platform as much as we're talking about the Power Platform certifications today, but you want to be able to prove to people that you know what you're talking about. And I know that mostly I like sharing whenever I get my certifications and I do my certification exams. When I get my certification, I actually post it on LinkedIn. So it's also great to add it onto your portfolio as well. So without wasting any time, before I allow Fanie and the team to actually get started with giving us a few tips and tricks, I just want to take you through the certification pathway of Power Platform specifically. But obviously, if you're interested in Azure and you want to look at the certification pathways for Azure, you can actually find that certification pathway on Microsoft Learn. I'm going to share the resources on the chat once I step off from the stage and give it to Fanie. But ideally, if you have any questions whilst we are going through this call and Fanie and team are actually doing that, you can be able to ask those questions on the chat. And then if you want to clarify or you want to speak more, you can actually raise your hand, and then I can give you the rights to be able to enable your mic and you can ask your questions directly to the team. Right. Okay. Let's just take a quick look at the certification pathway for the Power Platform. So to get started with certifications around the Power Platform, so if you don't know about the Power Platform, it's a low-code, no-code platform that you can be able to use to build solutions from your mobile applications to your automations, to your business intelligence or business analytics, to your virtual agents or chatbots or your websites. You can build those without writing any code or writing little code, because obviously even people who are into programming can still use the Power Platform as well. So with each and every single skill, normally we would like to, as people who learn or developers who actually learn the skills, we would like to prove that we actually know what we're talking about. And in this case, this is what the certifications are for all these different technologies. So the certification pathway for the Power Platform is that you can get started with the Power Platform fundamentals. Basically, within the Power Platform fundamentals, it will actually help you to get a clear understanding of what is going on with the Power Platform, what is the Power Platform, what's the business value if you're already working and maybe you were asked at work to actually get a new technology that will help you automate or build solutions within the company or for your clients. In this case, you stumble upon the Power Platform, but you don't understand what's the business value behind it. The Power Platform Fundamentals certification can actually enable you to do that, and it will give you a few basic understanding of what the 5 different products within the Power Platform are, the ones that I actually mentioned, which is Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Virtual Agents, Power BI, and Power Pages. So when you are doing the Power Platform fundamentals, you can be able to get trained following the PL900 learning path on Microsoft Learn. It's a free resource that is self-paced, so you can do it. If you want to complete it by the end of this week, you can complete it by the end of this week. If you want to complete it by, let's say, in the next 3 weeks, because you don't have spare time, or you don't have that great spare time to actually get started with that certification, then you can do that with Microsoft Learn. But I do advise you to not take too long to finish the certifications, because ideally what ends up happening is that you forget that you need to get certified, and then you end up not getting certified and you keep putting it away for a later time. So as much as it's self-paced, you still need to have that form of discipline to understand what's going on and how you can apply that knowledge when you are writing the certification. It's also instructor-led, so I'm just going to cover this part because it's the same for all of the certifications, but it's instructor-led as well. So if you don't want to read through the Learn materials within Microsoft Learn, you can just go through the course of the PL900, where you'll have an instructor that will actually take you through the entire Power Platform and give you the basics around that. Or if you want to attend virtual events, you can attend Microsoft Virtual Training Days, in which with those training days, you get a free certification exam voucher that will either give you a 75% discount on the exam or a 100% discount on the exam when you are buying the certification exam voucher. Then once you've done your learning, the next step is for you to build your confidence, obviously, to say, I want to actually prepare and see how I can have this entirety of taking a certification exam. And if it's your first time taking a Microsoft certification exam, you can do that through like a practice exam that we have. It's also on Microsoft Learn. So it's practice assessment on Microsoft Learn for PL900, where you'll be able to go through a different simulated questions around the Power Platform and what you could potentially expect on the actual exam day. And then the skills measured within this certification exam, for an example, is describing the business value of the Power Platform, the identity foundational components of Microsoft Power Platform. As much as those sound like the big words, when you actually get to those questions, it's actually about how you apply your knowledge that you got from the learning path on Microsoft Learn. And then you need to demonstrate your capabilities of Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, and some of the complementary Microsoft Power Platform solutions. And then after that, you get recognized. Once you've passed your certification, once you've taken it, and then you pass the certification exam, you get recognized, and then you become like me, and you go on LinkedIn and you boast about it and say, hey, I actually passed the certification exam. I have this certificate, and you put it on your LinkedIn profile, which is great for recruiters, which is great for your network when people are trying to connect with you. And then your journey would not stop there, ideally, but the products that are featured within the Power Platform Fundamentals certifications are the 4 products, which is Power Apps, Power Automate, Power BI, and Power Virtual Agent, so that you can be able to get a basic understanding of those certifications. Then when you have done the Power Platform Fundamentals and you've passed it and you feel like, you know what, I want to take it a step further and I want to see if I can get more certifications around this Power Platform and become a Power Platform guru, this is where you level up with the associate level certifications, which is either you take the Power Platform App Maker, then you take the Power Platform Functional Consultant, then you take the Power Platform Developer certification exam, right? Which is the Power Platform App Maker would be the first certification, which is associate level. Again, it's also self-paced. You can also choose to have an instructor to go through that or join the Microsoft Virtual Training Days. And then you can take the practice assessment. But in this case, with the Power Platform App Maker, it's actually measuring you on how you can design business solutions, analyze and visualize data, and create those business solutions. And again, you get that certification, and now you feel like more of a Power Platform developer because you have gained an associate level. So take it as if you've done the Power Platform fundamentals, the next step, which is level 100 or level 200 certification, would be the Power Platform App Maker certification. And then once you've taken this certification in this order, because when you learn about the Power Platform through the fundamental certification, you could potentially learn that, oh, these are the overview of the different products within the Power Platform. And then when you tap into the App Maker, you actually get an extreme hands-on experience with the Power Platform. And then if you want to take it a step further now, you want to understand the consultation side of things with the Power Platform, you can actually take it a step further and get the Power Platform a functional consultant certification, which would be the next one on your journey. Same thing, self-paced. It's called the PL 200. When you get onto Microsoft Learn, you'll get the learning path there. And then obviously you can go through an instructor-led training if you want someone to teach you. And this one focuses on Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Virtual Agents on Microsoft Teams. And then the next step for you now, which is a very big certification exam, and I think Kanya and the team will be able to touch on this. The Power Platform Developer certification becomes like a great a very great step in the right direction. But before you could do that, is that you've probably through the Power Platform Fundamentals heard about Power BI. So if you want to go through the data analyst route, you can then you do the PL 300, which is the next certification on your certification pathway, where you go through Power BI and how you can be able to use Power BI to visualize your data and actually build dashboards and reports. And the only product here that's being featured or that's being looked at is actually Power BI. So you'll understand or you'll be measured on how you can model your data, how you prepare it, and then how you visualize and analyze the data, and then how you can be able to deploy and maintain assets. Then once you're happy on that and you want to be this developer for the Power Platform, you can do the PL 400, which is the Power Platform Developer Associate. When I took it, it was quite challenging, but it was a great challenge because I got to learn more about the Power Platform. It looks at Power Apps and Power Automate and also Dataverse. And then before you can actually get to the boss level of the Power Platform certification exams, you need to get to the henchman of the Power Platform certification exams, which is the PL 500, which is Power Automate RPA Developer Associate. This one just only looks at Power Automate. It's about automations and AI Builder and also some form of Azure services. So if you also want to play around with Azure with the Power Platform, this certification is made for you. And then the moment you want to get to the boss level of certifications within the Power Platform, you do the Solutions Architect, which is an expert level certifications. The past the past four certifications that I just mentioned are only looking at associate level certifications. And then the first one was just fundamentals, the basics. The last one is an expert. So people would call you an expert of the Power Platform. This one is more on the business side of things when it comes to the Power Platform and how you can apply it and implement it if you were a solutions architect at a given company or at a given organization. So this is the boss level of certifications, which is it carries a lot more weight than the others. But for you to be able to do this certification, the prerequisite for those exams is that you need to have passed the PL 200, which is the Power Platform Functional Consultant exam, and then the PL 400, which is the Power Platform Developer exam, because those two prepare you for this certification. So I know that Fanie and the team have something to share. Before I pass it over, I need to note that the Power Platform Solutions Architect certification exam looks at Power Apps, Power Virtual Agents, Power Automate, Power BI, Power Pages, Microsoft Azure. So it looks at almost all of the Power Platform products and also Microsoft Azure, because when you're a solutions architect at an organization or a company, you need to have a full scale understanding of how you can then be able to employ or implement the Power Platform within that organization. Right. So I just wanted to give you that quick overview of how your journey would look like. But again, this is not just this is the way you can do this order in any way or shape or form that you want to do it in. So when you are doing the certifications, you don't have to follow what I just said to you, but it is recommended and suggested that you follow it that way because you start from the fundamentals and you work your way up. But I know that Fanie and the team actually have a different perspective because they've taken the certifications and looked at how was I best prepared for the PL 400, for an example, as compared to the PL 900 and all of those things. So Fanie, Kanya, and Z, I'm handing it over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Someleze. It was a very, very nice presentation. So for this section or this part, we're going more to share some tips, experiences, and in terms of us writing the certificate. Kanya and Mzi have done the PL 900, PL 100, and PL 400. So we will go deeper into them in terms of like what they entailed and what if you compare them, what's the feeling, what are the tools that they have used, how was the content, what the strategies that they have used to make sure that they pass. Because as we say, like Someles has highlighted, they are very, very important, these certifications. So yeah, then so what I will do is the flow, I'm going to pose the questions to Z and Kanya, but before before they answer, I would like Mzi and Kanya to introduce themselves before they answer the questions. So I will start with the questions, then I will direct the questions to Mzi. So then I will ask the questions regarding the Microsoft PL 900, which is the fundamentals ones, and I will ask for PL 100. And it's just Mzi, I want Mzi just to share like what PL 900 it's all about and what is the PL 100 is all about, and just to cover a little bit what you will find within it. So yeah, over to you, Mzi, just to explain like, yeah. But before you start, just introduce yourself, then the certificates that you held, so that the attendees, they can be aware that you have done them and the tips that they get, how they can use it.
Thank you, sir. Evening all. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Mziwenhlanhla Mngadi. I am a varsity Genie Guru and a Microsoft Student Learning Ambassador. So the certificates I hold are the PL 900, which is the fundamentals course, and the PL 100, which is the App Maker Associates certificates, yes. And I'm currently working towards my AZ 900. Still need to tackle that one. So yeah, that's my introduction. And I'll pass it over to Kanya to introduce himself.
Thank you, Mzi. To those of you that don't know me, I am Phiwayinkosi Kanya Dludlu, student at DUT doing my final year, and yeah, so I'm certified with the PL 900, PL 100, and PL 400, and yeah, that's my story. I'll give you tips and tricks as Mr. Fanie as we continue.
Okay, thank you so much. So yeah, Mzi, as the question was like, how is PL 900 and how is PL 100? So the details that you will find there, and yeah, what is PL 900 is all about, and what is PL 100 is all about?
All right. So for the PL 900, since it's the fundamentals certificates, it just covers like surface level information regarding the Power Platform, like so you can get your bearings about the different products offered by the Power Platform. So it's just basic level information, what the products do, like how they can work with each other, how you can connect the various products to like build a solution. But like that's all that is the surface level. It only gets more into detail once you specialize on the other certificates. For example, the developer certificates, which is the PL 400, and the other one, which is the 300, I believe. which is the BI. So yeah, when you specialize, then that's when it gets into more detail about the various products. So yeah, that's the fundamentals course. Then for the PL100, the PL100 focuses mainly on the use of Power Apps and how to build Canvas apps and model-driven apps. Yes, and the various softwares you can use, for example, the Microsoft Dataverse, how you can incorporate it into your solution if you're making a Power App solution. And yeah, just it covers those areas, but mainly focuses on the Power Apps. The focus is the Power Apps for the PL100.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So, Kanya, so Mzi has just detailed to say like Power PL900 is just basics, fundamental, just give you a general overview. Then 100 is just the app maker. Then let's talk about 400. Like what now 400 as you have experienced it. Then in terms of the 400 compared to those two, which is the PL900, 100, then what the 400 specifically focus on?
Thank you, Mr. Fanie. The PL400 goes deeper from the content from the PL100. Focuses mainly on building Power Apps, and it now introduces a concept of coding as part of making Power Apps for those instances where you may need, for example, a custom component that is not readily available in the Power Platform, and you have to you have to code it yourself, or you wanna build a custom connector to a data source that is not readily available in the Microsoft new over 600 connectors. So it just mainly focuses on that and polishing up your skills, and it also introduces you a bit to Microsoft Power Pages, the low code aspect of it, where you just drag and drop components on the screen, and also the coding aspect of it, where you also, which enables you to add your own components again and just edit the HTML and play around with the CSS and also add some JavaScript functionality. So yeah, that's basically what the PL 400 does. It just goes deeper into the Power Platform and introduces you to other concepts. For it, you need to have basics in coding, which is, as I've mentioned, JavaScript, in order for you to pass it, because during the exam, they do ask you to, they give you scenarios where you have to code a certain component. So you need a bit of JavaScript, basic JavaScript or TypeScript, basic, which helps you a lot into passing the exam and also understanding more and expanding the usefulness of Power Apps. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. So yeah, as I like the part that you are now getting into the feeling of the exam. So I just want like just to explain in terms of like how the exam of this certificate look like. Do I need to go and write and type? Do I look as you speaking about the code? Do I need to write this code? How now like this exam feel like, and is it standard across all three certificates? And how do I even schedule it? So I just want you to give me in terms of like the scheduling of it, the experience of it before you write, like how, like what there is any, how my environment need to look like, or I can just write in an open space where everyone is sitting. Just just explain there.
All right. Start just by highlighting the differences between the three certifications and the exams. So, okay, the exam differs from certification to certification. The PL 900 is mainly composed of your multiple choice questions, your match, drag and drop, and all that sort of questions. And also with your PL 100, it's the same story, but it's on the PL 100 you get more of scenario based questions where they just give you a scenario. For example, there's a company that needs a power app to do APC. How should you do? How will you navigate and stuff like that? So it's scenario based. And for scenario based questions, once you start, you can't go back. If you say you've finished the scenario based question, you can't go back and say you will come back and review it. So you just have to keep that in mind. And for the PL 400, it's more on the tougher side among the exams because it does include scenario based questions. Also, they'll include questions where you have to fill in parts of the code and you have to explain what some components do in the Power Platform. So yeah, and coming to preparation, preparation is very, very much similar across the three certificates that I've done. For the PL 900, you just have to focus on your learning parts, cover the content, reread the content, make sure that you do understand the content, which is very important because they really, really test your understanding of the content. And also using practice exams which are readily available. When I wrote my PL 900, we were given a free Measure Up voucher. So Measure Up is like this e-commerce site where you can get practice exams for the different industry certifications. You talk about your Microsoft certifications, your Azure, your Power Platform certifications, and also other industry certifications like your Cisco certification. So we were given free vouchers, so I used that a lot. At first, I struggled. The first time I took one, the practice exam, the marks were terrible. I had to get 70% and above, 75% and above in order to be considered a pass. And yeah, first time I got 40%. It was that bad. And I had to review and revise the content again and retake the practice exam. And as I continued, I managed to get above 80%, and I felt confident enough to go take a real exam this time. And the first time I wrote, I didn't pass. Oh, also something that's important to note is with the Microsoft exams, you have to get above 70% or it's above 700 points in order to pass for any Microsoft exam. So first time, unfortunately, I didn't make it to 70%. I got around 60 something percent, and I had to retake my exam again. And second time, I passed. I got over 70%. So yeah, so that was for the PL 900. For the PL 100, it was a little bit different preparing for it. Of course, I went through study material, read through, revised, but unfortunately, we didn't have free practice exam vouchers for it. So, what I decided to do, I teamed up with Ndlovu to buy a Udemy course. There was a sale. They were around 200 Rand each. So we bought the best rated Udemy course on the PL 100 exam. And we used that. The guy really did well. It was by, if I remember well, a guy called Philip was the instructor for that course. He was doing a really good job. His course I do recommend. So we bought one and we used it to prepare for the exams. And this time around, first time I passed. Then for the PL 400, it was a similar journey in regards to preparing for the exam. I had to read the content, practice, because PL 400 is a lot that you need to practice. I don't wanna lie, you need to go into JavaScript, practice. Luckily, I also bought a course of Udemy. There was a sale again for 200 Rand, and that really helped me to practice and really helped me with most of the questions during the exam. So you have to practice, know your stuff, really know your stuff. Yeah, so that was it. And for writing exams, okay, first time I wrote at a testing center. So basically, testing centers are like those areas where you go there and sign up and you show that and give them your identification to prove that you are who you say you are, as registered online, and then you take the test there, right? And when you get there, it is strict. First time I wasn't used to it because it was first time. Because they search your pockets, even check your shoes to make sure that there's nothing that you have to cheat. So it's quite a serious exam. They even check your sleeves to check that you don't have any markings so you can cheat. And when you get in the room, you just have this monitor in front of you, mouse and keyboard to take the exam. The exams are to take the exam, and you have a camera monitoring whatever that you're doing, and the person obviously who's watching over you. So it's quite a serious exam. Then that was for the PL 900. So I went to a testing center twice, and also for the PL 100, it was the same story. I went to a testing center. Then for the PL 400, I wrote it online, meaning I used my own device to write the exam. And you may think, it's online, it's like you can cheat or you can have your notes on the side. You can't do any of that. It's quite strict. Even before you take the exam, you need to make sure that the area you're at, there's no noise, no disturbances. It's quite quiet, it's clean, and you have to take pictures and show the room that you're writing in. And throughout the exam, you have to keep your camera on. And forget about that, you will use dual monitor setups that don't allow any of that, or you split your screen. The software won't allow any of that. It checks. The moment you install it and you enter the test online, checks your system for any background running apps. If there's any funny story, it automatically disqualify you and you would have lost out. So advice, don't try anything funny, just focus and try to relax. And yeah, it's basically similar to the testing center, just that you're writing at your home or your apartment or rest, wherever you're at. It's quite a unique experience, I would say. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
no, thank you so much. Yeah, just to wrap up in terms of just to wrap up what you were saying in terms of preparing for the exams, you use you bought courses on Udemy. You said for both your PL 400 and PL 100, and for PL 900 that you use the voucher that was provided through the I think it was Microsoft Cloud Ready Skills, which was providing major vouchers just to practice and to just feel that in terms when you arrive in an exam, how the exam will feel like. And one of the tools again that you mentioned that it was Microsoft Learn, which is Someleze has touched it, where it's just a self-paced learning tool that you can use to learn. And then in terms of when you were writing, the experience, the questioning, amongst PL 900, you just say it's a multiple choice where it's not much of the scenario based type. They just testing that you have understood your overall content around the products that Microsoft offer around Power Platform. Then you said in terms of the PL 100 is still multiple choice, but it's more on a scenario type. So you might need to have more understanding in terms of how a particular tool is applicable to a particular situation. Then you indicated too that Microsoft PL 400 also it's more on the scenario type, but some you might need to type the code. Then again, the last part that you were just touching in terms of writing, You said your 2 exams you wrote at the writing center, which is very strict. When you get there, you assess to make sure that there's nothing that will compromise the quality of the exam. You get searched, checked, there's no notes, and yeah. Then the last part that you were just highlighting, which is when you write online, it's very important to be in a quiet space. When you write, you need to concentrate to your screens. But as again, you mentioned that when someone write, we just sharing this so that when you're about to write, you don't panic, because the minute you panic, you might panic even not to even check in easily because you're panicking. So while you take that process of writing, it's very critical for you to relax, as Kanya has indicated. So yeah, Mzi, in terms of like studying, because we study in different ways, but in terms when you are studying Microsoft Learn, were you sitting down writing notes, or were you browsing? Like, just tell us that experience in terms of like using Microsoft Learn, and how the Microsoft Learn, is it packaged? Do I need to go all over? If I'm going to do PL 900, do I need to assume that I need to go and collect this aspect here, or go to chapter? Let's say it's a book. You go to chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, the other is chapter 10. You just cover your Microsoft Learn PL 900. How that tool works, and then again, how you were studying. Like, were you writing or were you browsing, capturing? I'm just trying to get your study method that you used to pass your PL 900 and your PL 100.
All right, so obviously the studying experience is not the same for everyone. Everybody learns differently. For my approach, what worked for me was just reading over the contents. Like, it wasn't challenging for me to grasp onto the contents, so I didn't do much writing down. Majority of my studying was just reading through the learning parts and doing the activities from the learning parts. And so for Microsoft Learn, the way it's set out, it has these learning parts, which are like a roadway for you to tackle a certain certificates. So everything is already bundled, it's already laid out from introduction to where the end. So it's like going up the stairs. It eases you into the content. You don't get overloaded by the contents. So yeah, so Microsoft Learn is set out like that. So you don't need to go to various places just to get the contents focused on the certificate you're doing. Everything is already laid out for you. And the nice thing about Microsoft Learn is it even shows you your progress on the learning path to show you how far into the content you are in. And inside the learning paths, there are modules. And in those modules, the setup usually is you get exposed to a piece of content. They explain, like the content explains what it's about. Then at the end of each module, there is a test exercise there, which tests your understanding of the content you just went over, and it rewards you with experience points. So the other thing with Microsoft Learn, it's enjoyable to learn there because everything, it has this, it's like they gamified the learning experience there, because each module you tackle and each learning part you complete, you gain experience, and that experience contributes to your level for your Microsoft Learn profile. And from there, other people can see how your level, how far you've went, and various modules you've tackled. So it has that motivation aspect where you can compare your progress to other people and, you know, get motivated to do better and cover the information from Microsoft Learn. So yeah, that's it there. And for us, or let me say, yeah, for us, when we were going through the learning parts, we also had a leaderboard where all the people who are tackling these certificates, you would see the progress there too. And there was like a limit, a time limit. And the other thing I noticed is with the time limits, it pushes you to complete the learning parts. Just as Someleza mentioned before, as much as it is a self-paced experience, you must make you must put in the efforts to make sure you complete the learning part and not put it off because you might end up not finishing the content basically. So yeah, that's another important thing. So that was the experience for me and how Microsoft Learn is as a platform from my experience. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So, like, one that you mentioned, which is, I think that's one best strategy that even for me, I've survived when Someleze was mentioning that. So the advice was usually, let's say when we study for school, some people prefer to take notes, and writing notes might take you forever because the longer you take, the longer you take, it make it difficult for you to write because you will feel like you're not ready, because sometimes this content might seem like it's big, but reading through over, not just taking notes, because this content it's much easier to digest, much easier to consume. So I saw like as an effective strategy, Someleza recommended, and then I can hear Mzi mention that you just go through. Yes, you can write notes where you think that you don't understand, but don't write notes for that one recommendation. Like, don't write notes from beginning till the end. Just write where you feel like, hey, I need this concept maybe to go back. But then, yeah, that just going through, not writing, I think it's best for people, majority that I have engaged with, just going through. So again, yeah, in terms of like I just want both of you to answer, Mzi and Kanya. In terms of like the stress while you're writing, how did you handle the stress when you're writing? Because sometimes you might panic, you might not understand this. Then do you spend time trying to sort that question that you don't understand? Do you spend time there? How did you handle? Because sometimes if you don't understand, you are stressed, and sometimes you leave the questions and you think like, hey, now I'm failing. How do you handle that? Because sometimes I thought some certificate, like I'm certified with 4, but I thought some I failed, but then at the end, I found that I've passed. How did you handle the stress and not to panic while you were answering the question during the exam?
All right. So what I noticed is having a community or like having people you can rely on helps a lot, like to push you through the process, because yes, the stress does have an impact on you when you tackling the certificates. So in my case, I was lucky enough to be a part of the bootcamp last year. So it was like this group of 15 or so people, and each Saturday we'd meet up and like share our experiences of how we're progressing, various ways to tackle problems we came across. So yes, that did help tremendously with dealing with the stress, and just having a support group, having like a close family member who you can like get motivation from, vents to, just to let out that stress, or having like a close friend. Yeah, those stuff are important when dealing with these certificates. So you mustn't forget to rely on people, because there was a time with me when I was doing my Peer 100. The contents was overwhelming for me because there was like 58 hours of content to go over, and somewhere in the middle of it, I felt the pressure because there was this time limit we had to complete the content by, and I believe it was like going to be test week or exam week the following week. So yeah, the pressure was really on there. But yeah, I got through it. So what's important is when just follow through with the process, trust the process. It just don't give up and push until you get to the very end, because it is worth it. I couldn't imagine myself being where I am now if I didn't join or I wasn't a part of that process there. So it really, I grew from the experience. So yeah, thanks.
Okay, Kanya, same. How did you handle the stress? Because it can be a very stressful, yeah, it can be a stressful journey to prepare for it.
Thank you, Mzi and Fanie. So, my journey is similar to Mzi's. I also was part of the Power Platform Bootcamp, which was held last year, the first one, which was held last year with Greenlight and Duty. Yeah, it really helped to have people on your side who are also doing the same thing as you are, whom you share the same stresses with you, and who are there to help and encourage you. Mr. Someles was always every Saturday we were meeting. Mr. Someles was always there encouraging us to go over the content. Sometimes he'll take it upon himself to show us how to do certain things in Power Apps, especially before we wrote our PL 900, and also give us tips on how to prepare for the exams. Stress-wise, the exams are kind of stressful, including preparing for the exam. It is kind of stressful, especially when you're also juggling between going over the content and also doing your varsity work or your school work, or maybe you're also working. It is stressful. For me, my coping mechanism was just reading through, forcing myself to read through as much as I can within the day, and then just testing myself with the quizzes that are part of the Microsoft Learn learning part. Each module has quizzes at the end, so just go over them many times over to just try ease myself and become more confident that I know what I've read and what I've done. So yeah, it really helps to have somebody with you who's gonna be encouraging you, because it is quite stressful. And even in the exam room when you're writing at the testing center or whether you're writing online, you do feel the stress, like all that pressure when mounting on you. So for that, I just try to relax as much as possible and tell myself that I know what I'm doing. I've studied enough. And yeah, just tell myself that this is my time to showcase what I know. Because at times, like for example, the first attempt I did with the PL 900, the one that I failed, it wasn't per se that I didn't know some certain stuff. It was more of I was stressed and kind of panicking in the exam room. Getting there for the first time, being stressed as if you stole something, and then entering into the exam room, this monitor in front of you, screen. It is quite kind of stressful. So yeah. So I remember some of the answers that I even remembered after I came out of the exam. Like, the answer for the question. I know it. Some of them were even part of were very much similar to the ones I did in the practice exams, which were hosted on Measure Up. So yeah, just try to relax as much as possible and read. Just go through the content, take it one day at a time if you can. Just make sure you don't go to bed if you uh start between juggling the learning material in school. Just try to not go to sleep without reading through something, learning path, or just one module covering it. It really, really helps to build your confidence, and it really helps for you to relax when you're writing your exam. Otherwise, well, once you're done, you write it once. You get more. You become more at ease with your next exam. So just encourage everyone just to relax and trust yourself. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. So yeah, what the most important thing that I've picked up there was in terms of like have like your tribe that will be there to keep you going and that you can keep on engaging. And most of people in this space, some are working, some are studying, and one way or another, you will have to jungle both of this, and for you to keep on going. One aspect of it is just to have that your tribe that keep on supporting you. So the last question for both of you, like, what has this certificate, like, how they have benefited you, how they have opened doors for both of you? Just like keep it each for a minute. Just share the benefits that doing the certificate have you're still doing your last year, but you're already getting some opportunities. So we just want you to share how this certificate has opened doors for both of you.
All right, thanks. So for me, it was after the bootcamp, which was last December. We got our very first job, Kanye and I. We got recruited by Mr. Fanie. So there was this client who needed a solution. All they had was an Excel spreadsheet and an idea to like build a solution. So that's all we had to go off of. So there was that, and we had to, you know, sit down, plan how the solution would look like. And there was we'd hold sessions every now and then to like collect requirements. And yeah, we built the solution, and the clients was very happy. We delivered it in January, so that was one opportunity. Then after that, I also got the opportunity to become a part of the Microsoft Student Investor Program. Thanks to Someleza who recommended me to the program. And from that program, I'm exposed to a community of like-minded individuals who aim to better their communities through the use of Microsoft solutions or products. Yes. And another thing, we got the opportunity to work alongside the dean at the DUT for the faculty, the faculty of accounting and informatics. Yes. We got to work with the dean to develop a solution for an internal process within DUT, and that is still ongoing. So all that, yeah, since last year, December, all that has been a result of me being part of this process, getting certified, and getting all these opportunities.
Perfect. Kanya?
So yeah, as Moses said, we got an opportunity to work with Mr. Fanie in developing solutions in the Power Platform for a company, and we got compensated for it. It was when you first time you get something from something that you worked hard for, and you see the results immediately. I wasn't really expecting it that fast. Like it was just after the boot camp. So and after that, yeah, it has been a great journey. Foreign exposure to many different platforms. This year I had an opportunity to present the solution that I did last year during the boot camp to wider community in Microsoft. I was part of one of the community calls in Microsoft. It was a great learning experience. I had to showcase my solution, and yeah, they've enabled. I've seen a lot of results through the certifications. Also, I had the wonderful opportunity of working with the dean as we are working with him right now on a solution using the Power Platform. And honestly, I'm gaining a lot of experience hands-on, design-wise, solution-wise. Like I'm really gaining a lot, and all thanks to the certifications. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So yeah, if the attendees have any question, please drop them by the chat, and then I will hand it back to Someleze. Thank you so much.
Wow, that was wonderful. So much to actually unpack and actually understand. It's great to hear other people's experience with the Power Platform certifications and just the Power Platform in general. So it's been great to hear that. I just want to note that, like Fanie mentioned, if you have any questions, just put them in the chat, or if you want to ask your question directly, you can just raise your hand and I can give you mic privileges and you can be able to ask that question. Great to see Shadrach joining in the call. Shadrach is the Power Platform Kenya user group lead in Kenya. So great to see him being part of our community call as well. So welcome, Shadrach. We're going to be having these calls for quite a while now. If there aren't any questions around what Muzi, Fanie, and Kanya have shared, I just want to quickly note that you can find the resources to Microsoft Learn here. I have these different resources here. Obviously, you can either take a screenshot of this quickly before we end the call, or I will just share the resources on chat. But the most important one is the one that Fanie put on the chat around certifications and how you can use practice assessments on Microsoft Learn. Once you're on Microsoft Learn, you can just search for Power Platform Fundamentals or AZ900 if you want to focus on Azure or a different thing. So we have Microsoft Learning Partners, Microsoft Learn Support, and certification support as well if you want to understand how you can be able to navigate your certifications. So without wasting any time, before we end the call, just wanted to mention a few things. I love that Kanya had shared that he has a solution that he demoed at the Microsoft Power Platform community call, in which now brings us to the Power Platform Junkies user group community call, where we're going to ask him in the upcoming weeks to actually come and demo that solution here for 10 minutes. So still going to be an interesting time for our community calls. Just to note, those community calls are actually happening bi-weekly, so every 2 weeks. So next week, we're not going to have the community call. The week after that, that's when we're going to have the community call, same time, which is 4 to 5 p.m. South African time or 4 to 5 p.m. Central African time. I see Fanie has a hand up.
So yeah, so the other important thing what you mentioned that is I'm happy that I see new faces here, and Nomfundo, next week I hope you will come and present here. So I would like other guys that I'm seeing that are new here that are not certified and they want to be certified, but as I say, sometimes it might be costly, but while you're still waiting to be certified, it will be nice for you to come and present. I will make sure that through the other members that we prepare some sort of a program where we can come and help you to prepare to come and present to the community. So as we said, these user groups will be an opportunity for you to come and upskill yourself and prepare, most important, your community profile, your GitHub, your LinkedIn, write articles, so that, because these things, they play a very vital role in terms when you go and try to look for a job. So it's not limited only to a certain people. What you can do through the user group, some you can get in touch with us on LinkedIn if you want to come and present, So yeah, I just wanted to mention that too.
Yes, yes, of course. So when you want to present and you have a demo to show us, make sure it's fit for 10 minutes so we can do 3 demos on that day. So when you want to present, just reach out to me or you can reach out to Fanie and then Fanie will let me know, and then we can help you prepare for your presentation on this community call. Again, you are just sharing what you're learning and what you're building with the Power Platform, so don't feel the extreme pressure of saying, what am I going to share? I don't have anything cool to showcase. No, don't worry. Everything is cool to us. Because we want to see what you're building and we want to see you implementing what you're learning around the Microsoft Power Platform. So again, if you want to be a presenter and you want to showcase what you're learning during those community calls, reach out to me or reach out to Fanie, and then we can set up the next call. And obviously, we'll set up all the details that we need from you to put you onto that call. Other than that, without wasting any time, thank you everyone for coming in during this community call and joining in. Hopefully, you guys have had an eye-opener around certifications with the Power Platform and also how you can tackle certifications. And also, thank you for being able to sit through this community call as well. So hopefully we're going to be seeing you next time, where you're going to be seeing some full demos that people are going to be showcasing. Nomfundo has been voluntold by Fanie, so Nomfundo is going to be our next presenter and showcasing a demo around what she has built with the Power Platform. Thank you so much, Fanie, Kanya, and Mzi for doing that wonderful presentation on certifications. We appreciate you taking your time out of your day to actually do this presentation on today's community call. Other than that, thanks everyone. See you on the next one.